Sup boys, LudiDeo here, and welcome to the Arms Warrior PvP guide. So after completing that Fury Warrior guide, here comes his big brother, the Arms, the OG class of the WoW. So let's get started. Well, as you know, I'm a pretty decent warrior, and 2 nights ago we secured the 29th spot on the ladder. I'm a little bit higher on the Fury, but we'll do all classes, so if you want to see that, stay tuned for other classes as well. Now, let's get going with the basics, the race. Which is the best race? I'll repeat myself, because it's the same for Fury. If you want to be lame, and if you want to be a sweat lord, and embarrassment to the warrior community, you're gonna be playing the gnome, the guardian gnome, and you're gonna put pink hair on top of that, right? Now, if you want to be cool, you want to be good looking, you will be playing what? Orc, or High Mountain, Tarren, or Alliance, even though Orc is a little bit cooler, of course. Now, what do we play from Alliance? We play Night Elf, then we play Human. Other than that, not much. You could go with maybe Dark Iron Dwarf, but you know, you need a big weapon, right? So, as I said, Orc is gonna be the coolest option. It's gonna give you some extra points, obviously. Now, guys, once again, if you reach, I don't know, rank 20, and then you're kind of stuck then, and then you can think about being a gnome, right? Even though I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, let's talk about something important, stats. By the way, jokes aside, gnome is the best race, so if you don't want to play that, play whatever you want. Just go in the order of coolness. If you want to play Volpera at that point, you know, you can even play Volpera if you're not playing gnome, so, you know. Now, let's go to the stats. So, stats, let me explain it to you, if you don't know. Versatility, #1 stat. Increase your damage and damage received. You receive less damage, right? That's why it's the most important stat in PvP. So this will be your #1 priority. Your #2 priority will be haste. Why? Haste reduces the downtime of your button presses, right? Your GCD is lower. And it also works well with the bleeds, and as we know, Arms Warrior has rend, deep wounds. Very nice, right? Mastery increases your damage. Your Mortal Strike hits harder. All your abilities pretty much hit harder. So again, pretty good stat. Now, I prefer more haste build, but definitely mastery is very good too. So every piece you will want to have verse, okay? And we will reach a point in haste where it's gonna start feeling good, and then you can start feeling the mastery up, you know? So which percentage is that? It could be 15 to 20, right? Percent, anything between that. Just depends how it feels to you. I personally like haste a lot, so for me, I might even go higher, but you know, we will see about that. We're not there yet, but if I'm telling you for the future, you know, anything between 15 to 20% haste, you're gonna be good. You can put the rest into the mastery. Crit will be avoiding, yeah? Okay, let's talk about the tier set now. Tier set is looking pretty solid, okay? So we'll definitely be running 2 set. 4 set is not looking bad either. So, you know, most people will be running it. If you don't run it, no big deal, okay? If you don't run it, no big deal. But most people will be running it. Now, will I be running it? I usually don't always run 4 sets. Most guys do, but again, no difference there. It's gonna be literally 0.1% difference. Who cares? If you get it, get it. If you don't. I won't be probably running it because I play Fury, and on Fury I won't be running it. So once the conquest is uncapped, I might be running it, okay? So there's that. I'll slowly go through gear, but again, it will be changing. We are early in the season, right? So what do we want for enchants? We want head speed, shoulder speed, boots speed. Okay, we want to run. We have chest strength. We have legs strength, and then we have the weapon and the rings. We'll be going either with the verse or with the haste. Or if we already have a lot of haste and verse, we can go with the mastery. Okay, it just depends at what point you are in the season, right? Early in the season we'll be going haste for sure. Now once we're full conquest gear, we might put some mastery on the rings on the right, because we will have enough haste, we'll have enough verse. Okay, so that covers the stats, guys. Let's talk about the embellishments, right? We want to be running Arcano Viva Insight. Yeah, so very simple. Just pack 2 of those. You can put it on the belt and where did I put it? Chest, same as me. You can put it on the wrist. You can put it on the cloak, wherever you want to. Honestly, no big deal. Just put 2 of those and you're good to go. Okay, I think we covered everything. Gems. You want to have 1 enduring heliotrope, and the gems again, just the stat you're missing. The gems are just to min-max the gear, nothing else. Okay, so once you're full gear, then start thinking about the gems. Now you can just randomly throw whichever you want at the start of the season. They're super expensive, you know. If you want to min-max, go haste verse or verse haste, whichever you like. Okay, let's go next. Now, guys, I'm saying all of this for stats because in season 1 we are not reaching any caps, so you're not gonna be losing damage anyway. Whichever ratio you go, mastery to haste, it's fine, right? It's just what you prefer, because on the ladder you will see arms with 20% haste, some with 25, some with 15, some with 10% on the top of the ladder, right? It's just style preference. All of that is good as long as you don't stack crit, right? If you go high haste, high verse, everything else in mastery, you're good to go. Okay, let's talk about hero talents. So Colossus or Slayer? In my opinion, Colossus is superior right now. I personally am a big enjoyer of Slayer because I come from Fury and it's closer to the Fury playstyle. So if you're coming from Fury yourself, I think you'll enjoy Slayer more. But if you're an ARMS OG, I think Colossus is for you guys, okay? Colossus is the harder hitting, ARMS, okay? Why? So what's the difference? Colossus, first, you're more tanky. 5% more damage and 5% less damage. Very nice, very nice. Second, mortal strike damage increased by 20%. Slayer doesn't have that. Next, you have bleed. Where is that? Your bleeds do more damage. Okay? Again, very good for Arms Warrior. Plus, you get a huge button that deals a lot of damage, right? Plus, you still retain that OG Ignore Pain playstyle. Because in my opinion, if you play Slayer, Ignore Pain kinda sucks. But if you're going Colossus, definitely I would go with the Ignore Pain. Okay? So I think Colossus is superior, but I will be covering both builds since I'm a Slayer enthusiast. Okay? So let's get going in depth first with the Colossus tree. Okay? So I'll be starting with the left tree, then the right tree, then the middle tree, PvP talents, and then we'll be talking about the Slayer. So, okay, I'm gonna break down the tree now. I'm gonna go node by node and see, what's good, what's bad, what's situational. Yeah, so let's talk about it. So I removed a few points that were unnecessary and optional, and now I just left the points that are necessary. So how are we gonna build this? These two, obviously, we need. Movement speed, solid optional pick. War Machine, in my opinion, very good, because Arms is more rage starved, and I think it's good to have. Now you have a pick. Are you gonna go Thunderclap or are you gonna go Leeching Strikes? Leeching Strikes kinda sucks. But if you go Thunderclap, then in my opinion, I mean, this is a juicy talent too. So you kinda have to commit 2 points. I mean, you don't have to, but if you're already going Thunderclap, you might as well, right? So I usually honestly go Leeching Strikes, but guys, you can go 2 points here, no problem, okay? So let's do Leeching Strikes this time. What else do we have? Impending Victory, great. Heroic Clip, must this as well, right? Stormbolt you need, Intervene, amazing talent. Pain and Gain, these two are super good. Rallying Cry, well, you kinda need it to save your teammates sometimes, right? Second Wind is pretty weak. It's pretty weak, okay? Now, this is super bad talent. This is okay talent, but you have to commit 2 points. Not the best. Rend, you need. Shockwave, you're buffing it in the Colossus 3, so it's pretty good. Spell Reflect, amazing. Wound Reflex is optional, but I personally always pick it. It's super good. Okay, boom. This you must pick. Piercing Howl, kinda dead now, right? Because you have to pick between these two. Berserker Shout, AoE, Fear Removal, very good. This is good too, if you're in solo content, or, you know, 2s or BG, where you're playing by yourself. So, but this is usually the better talent, okay? This is good against pet classes, good against locks, priests, good against Red Paladin. Now these are essential and you need to pick all of these, okay? And where are we gonna put these last 2 points, right? So we could do anywhere, honestly. We're playing against the lock, boom, we can do this. And we can do, for example, this. Even though second wind sucks, or you can put it here. Now, if you'd rather do this, that's fine too, right? So, you just do whatever you prefer. I change it all the time. I gave you a few options, which I think are the best, and you just change it up and see what you like the most, okay? So let's click this now. Now the bottom row. I pretty much always pick this, even though, you know, I mean, it does 10% is a lot of damage, okay? This is actually not great, but it's pretty decent if you use it with the spear, okay? And also it buffs your Wrecking Throw as well, so if you're running both, that's good benefit, then I could see going this, right? More Strike, honestly I always pick this, and all of these I always pick. This one is a must. Now this one is not that huge, and if you want to go this, you could, no problem. But currently I'm running this. But if you're gonna go Spear, you could definitely go with this, okay? Because Spear is super nice. It's super nice. Especially with Colossus. So, I'm currently running this, but this 100% completely fine, and honestly probably even better. Just depends on the content you're playing, you know, and who you're playing against. Like, if you're playing against melee cleave, this is probably not needed, right? It's probably not needed. If you're playing against something super slippery, like a lock which you can port away with this, or you're playing against something that this is very good against, maybe a Marksman Hunter. It's pretty juicy. Now, for example, Shadow Priest could fade away, and then this is not that great, but you know, some classes it's very nice against, some classes it's just okay against, so. Okay. Okay, the right tree. So everything you see here is pretty much a must, and we'll talk about the other things that we don't see. Now, we have one option choice, which is, as I said, ignore pain. Now, if you don't want to, you know, extra button, which is completely fine, it's not gonna be the end of the world, you know, completely playable without. It's kind of, honestly, it's kind of split 50-50 on this. Now, I do think that this is a great talent. It got nerfed since the last season, unfortunately, but if you're running this, It's still pretty decent. Now, if you don't want it, we can go with this, and then we're gonna change this as well, okay? Okay, so everything here is just buffing your damage, you know? Not much to talk about. Now, all of these are good. Now, some of these might not seem that great, like overpowering 15% damage below 35%, which I thought too, but if you check, overpower actually does more damage than execute. Okay, so I was running this at first, but then I saw execute is actually doing less damage than overpower, which is kinda, you know, not great. So where should we put these three talents? Obviously you want to put it here, you won't put it here, you won't put it here. So we have only a few options. We have this. Again, execute is not looking great, okay? We could put it here, here. This is actually very strong, especially when playing against, you know, melee cleave or something like that, where you can cleave. So this could be a good option. Boom. What else can we do? This 10% to trigger the tactician. Not that good, because then this is better, right? So if we're gonna go this way, this is the better way to go. Now we do have slam rage cost reduced by 25%, which will put slam from 20 rage to 15 rage. Just depends how often you need to click slam. We click it decent amount. I wouldn't say it often, but decent amount. So in my opinion, this is the better node. So it's kind of a fight between this and this. Okay. I think this is better than this, personally. 15 rage, not that big of a deal. This giving you a sweeping strike is actually pretty decent, I would say. And then we have option here as well, which you could do like this. Now, since you're going Colossus smash with sweeping strikes, I'm expecting you're playing against something you can sweep with. So I think this is the best way. If you're not, then you could do something like this, right? If you don't need sweeping strikes that often, then you don't even need to put 1 point here. You could even put it here, right? But if you do, once again, it's good to do this, right? Boom. So that will be the right tree. Now the mid tree, the only thing that you can change is actually these two. We talked about it. Here, this is way better. This is way better. Don't even think about it. Now, PvP talents. Always pick Sharpened Blade. Insane, you need it. Very good, very nice. Berserker Roar is pretty damn good. Let me explain it quickly to you. As you see, this removes all fear AoE from your teammates, like a Tremor Totem or Shaman. And what this does is, after you click that, it reduces the next CC on you and your teammates by 50%. So let's say you're gonna get stunned for 5 seconds, boom, it's halved. It's gonna be 2.5 seconds. Amazing, very strong cooldown, and you know, it's pretty good. So Dragon Charge, very good against in BGs, I mean, for, you know, memeing and throwing someone off the Eye of the Storm or something like that. Otherwise, it's kind of meme. Safeguard is pretty good, maybe in 2s, in 3s, coordinated play. In Shuffle, I wouldn't be using this. Rebound, honestly, I never use, so I wouldn't recommend it either. Demolition is pretty good if you're running Wrecking Throw, okay? Disarm, you know, pretty self-explanatory. Good against rogues, warriors, stuff like that. Duel is actually pretty strong, but I wouldn't be using this 100% in Shuffle. This is only for maybe 2s or coordinated 3s, okay? So if you have, you know, voice with someone, this could work. Master and Commander, I don't think is good, honestly. It's not that great. But I mean, I run sometimes this, but I don't think it's great. Storm of Destruction is pretty damn good if you're playing this melee cleave, if you play in BGs, very good in BGs, right? The more targets, the better, pretty much. If you're just trying to run down mage, it's kind of that talent, right? So that covers the talents. Let's get into action now. Okay, quickly, the Slayer talents. Not much change. We removed 2 points here. We removed point here. We removed points here. We removed points here. So where do we put them? We put them one here because we want to get 2 points here because this is going to buff the execute damage. And honestly, that's pretty much it. Not much else to it. And of course, you're going to be running this since we don't have the buffed ignore pain. Now the mid tree, pretty much locked in. I wouldn't change a thing. Okay, so let's get into the gameplay. Okay, Arms Warrior is a consistent damage dealer, which means we have a damage priority list rather than a burst list. Even though Colossus is the most bursty out of all hero talents and specializations in Warrior, okay, because of the demolish. But we'll get into that too. So let's get how to do damage. So we want to have bleed on the enemy, obviously first, right? Because it's just passive damage. So we apply the rend. At the top of the list, we have Heroic Strike. Then we have the Mortal Strike. Then we have the Overpower, Execute, and the Slam. Now, Execute applies deep wounds, another bleed, very good. But Overpower does more damage. Mortal Strike applies the mortal wounds and does the biggest hits. And Slam is just a filler, okay? Fishing for Tactician procs, many things, okay? So we have nothing here now. We're gonna Mortal Strike, right? Boom. Well, we don't have Rend either, so we're gonna Rend. Now we have a proc on Execute, and we are full on Rage. Well, Mortal Strike is back of cooldown, but let's get it on cooldown. Boom. And we can't Execute nor Mortal Strike. Then we Overpower, right? In this case, we are full on Rage. We can't Execute, we can't Mortal Strike, and we're just dumping it on Slam. Right? Boom, we get a proc, Heroic Strike. We instantly press that. What do we do now? Mortal Strike, Execute. And we Overpower. Now the point is, with the Overpower, is you can save 1 stack. You don't need to use it. For example, now, even though I said Overpower is above Execute, if you have used 1 stack, you don't need to press it again because, you know, it's the priority if you have 2 stacks, right? If you have 1 stack, you can hold it, okay? So, once again, Heroic Strike, Mortal Strike, Overpower, 2 stacks, Execute, Slam, and then you can use the last as Overpower with 1 stack, okay? And that will be the damage priority. Now, how do we burst? Okay, so how do we use that demolish actually? First we want to prepare it, right? We have stacks. We want 10 stacks. So it hits the hardest. So other than that, we want to have bleeds, we want to have, you know, deep wounds, we have everything on the target. We want to have Mortal Strike on the target. Now that we are prepared, let's imagine we have 10 stacks of Colossal Might. Let's imagine. We're gonna pop Avatar. We're gonna put Colossus Smash. Boom. We're gonna CC the target. We're gonna demolish. Boom. So it's more like a setup. You're not just gonna go randomly and use it, right? And you want your target to be CC'd as well, so they can't escape it. You know, you're playing against Mage, he can just blink away, right? So that's very important to know. Now let's talk about abilities we haven't talked about, and that's Blade Storm and Sweeping Strikes. Very important abilities. Sweeping Strikes you obviously want to press whenever there's additional target and you can leave. Now if you're just running at the mage, there's no one there, no point wasting the global cooldown on that, right? Blade Storm, obviously if there's 2 or more targets, it's pretty good to use, right? But if there's a single target, not so much. Now, it could be very useful to prevent CC or root, remove roots. So you should think about that too. For example, Frost Mage, Frost Novas you for 7 seconds. Boom, you can Blade Storm out. For example, you know, you can dodge a Polymorph by that. He's going to Polymorph you, you can Blade Storm, ignore the Polymorph, right? Or Rogue is going for a cheap shot. Boom, if you Blade Storm at the same time when he's going to cheap shot you, you're gonna immune it. So that's pretty much the use of Blade Storm. If it's not in a AoE situation when it's used for damage, right? And that's pretty much it for the offensive abilities. Let's see the Slayer. Okay, so Slayer will be a little bit more simple. Now the rotation will be pretty much the same, except we'll be putting the Bladestorm at the top because of this. 15% haste, very nice. Plus, we cast 2 Mortal Strikes while in Bladestorm because of Unhinged. Very nice. And we get this as well. So, Bladestorm is buffed by a decent amount in this build. So we'll put that at the top. Then we have Heroic Strike again. Then we have again Mortal Strike. Overpower, 2 stacks. Execute. Overpower with 1 stack. And then we have Slam. Okay? That's pretty much it. Very simple. And obviously you want to apply Rend if the target doesn't have it, right? So if the target doesn't have it, you just apply it, no big deal. Except if you're in a burst, you want to kill something, like at that point Rend will do nothing. But you know, if they're above 30% HP, apply it whenever you can, right? So let's talk about utility, CC, and defensives. So utility, we don't have much, guys. We have Heroic Leap and Charge. You have to be very smart about their usage, right? Because if you use them up, you have nothing. You're just gonna walk. And that's a problem. So we are the most immobile class in the game, and you have to use these guys very, very carefully. And you'll learn that the more you play, okay? Now, CC, Stormbolt, Fear, Shockwave. Shockwave, obviously, the more targets, the better to use. You know, if you're just doing it for a single target, it might not be the best option always. Better to Stormbolt it. Now, Stormbolt is good for a healer. You could always Stormbolt a healer. Depending what you're playing with. You know, if you Stormbolt the healer, red Stormbolt's kill target, boom, boom, easy kill. If it's the opposite way, again, very nice kill. Even better, but then Paladin needs to get closer to the healer, right? So it just depends how you're playing with. Obviously, you want to Fear when there is whole team there, or just the healer. If you're just gonna kill Fear 1 DPS, you know, it's not the best usage, okay? Because it's a long cooldown and it's very useful. Now, what else do we have of CC? One thing, Hamstring. Don't forget to click this. It's very important, right? It's very important because if the enemy is quicker than you, they'll just run away. So it's very important to slow them down. Now, defenses. Berserker Shout, we talked about this, very important. Removing fear from your whole team if you are running the talent I told you. Next, Spell Reflection, boom, you reflect the Chaos Bolt, very nice. Boom, you can reflect the Cyclone from the Druid. Healer, amazing. He sees it himself, right? So you have to be on the lookout. Now, what's different from Fury? We have Die by the Sword. Increase the parry chance by 100%, very, very useful. Now, be careful, if you get disarmed, it's not gonna work. Very, very important to know, okay? Rallying Cry. I mostly use this only for my teammates. I personally don't use it for myself, except if it's, you know, the last resort, okay? Intervene. Very important to save your teammate. Now you have to be very close, like 10 yards, very close. You have to be like this distance for it to work. If you leave, it's over, so important to know. And the last thing is defensive stance. Very important to use it properly, right? If they're going you, tunneling you whole game, just sit in defensive stance, no big deal, right? You're not the kill target, boom, back in battle stance. Because at some point they'll give up. And this is very good mitigation, damage mitigation. Now, if you're running Ignore Pain and they are on you, press it off cooldown. Very simple, just press it off cooldown. Okay? So let's talk about macros and addons. Okay, not much here. We have pretty much Stormbolt 1 to 3, the usual. We have the Colossus with Avatar, and for example, Blood Fury I had before. Well, I'm not playing Orc right now, but with cancel Bladestorm. So if I'm Bladestorming, I click this, it's gonna cancel Bladestorm, instantly wanna pop Avatar and Colossus. Rallying Cry with the Healthstone, Leap with the Cursor, Stance, Changing, Intervene 1 to 3. I mean, not 1 to 3, Party 1 2. Impending as well with the Hellstone, same for the Die by the Swords. Ravage, interchangeable with Bladestorm. And that's pretty much it. These, nothing else here, okay? What about the addons? Addons I have, but I have a in-depth guide on addons, so I don't want to talk too long about that. And let's talk about the comps, guys. Let's talk about the comps. Let's talk about the how is warrior shuffle. In shuffle right now, it's pretty mid. It's playable. It's not the worst class, but it's one of the worst class right now. It's at the bottom 3. Only Assassination and Outlaw are worse right now. It's gonna get buffed in the future for sure, so things will change. But I'm not expecting much because our mobility is the problem, guys. That's the biggest problem here, and we're kind of squishy as well. Honestly, the damage is not a problem at all. The problem is defensiveness and utility. Like, we are weak there. We are weak there. The damage is fine in my opinion. 2v2, not the greatest. Same as Fury. In my opinion, Fury is slightly better. Pretty solid against melee comps, warrior. But very bad against caster comps. Okay, very bad. Just depending on the caster. Shadow Priest is fine, but you know, any mage, any devastation evoker, anything that's super mobile as a ranged, even BM hunter, like, it's really bad. If they are on your level of play, you're gonna lose 100%. You can't play against it, especially if they play with like a Void Weaver. No good. Now melees you can easily deal with, except if they're rogue, which is playing like you know, wuss, and every time he's about to die he just runs around the pillar. Same goes for Pharaoh. But anything you can brawl with, you know, DK, monk, whatever you can brawl with, you can easily win. Okay, Fury warrior, right? You enhancement shaman, like all those matchups you can easily win. And yeah, let's talk. What's your best healer? In my opinion, it's gonna be Mistweaver by far. It's super broken. Other than that, Press Evoker is very good. Why? Because he can carry you over the map with his rescue ability. Rest Druid is always good in 2s. Holy Paladin is very good to enable you, freedom, stuff like that. Priests are okay, not the greatest with the warrior, just okay. Shaman, I'm not a big fan in 2s, but in 3s it's pretty good. Okay. Did I cover all of them? I think I did. Now 3s, who do we want to play with? Usually melees, but arms is more flexible than Fury, so arms can play a setup comp as well. Now again, I think that you know, the best thing is gonna be to play with the Shaman, for example, for Enhancement Shaman, Elemental Shaman, very good. You can definitely play with melee like Unholy DK. You can do Frost DK because you have Big Mortal Strike. You can do one-shot burst with your spear, very strong. Red Paladin, pretty solid. You can play with a mage, definitely, because they're super strong right now, and you know, they enable you as well by slowing enemies. And that's pretty much it, honestly, what I would play with. Okay. What about the Blitz? In Blitz, I think arms is better than Fury, if you're gonna choose, because of that Mortal Strike. It's not better right now, because Fury is stronger at this moment, but usually it is better, because you have that killing power with the big Mortal Strike. And your use in team is to be the brawler, right? You're gonna go and brawl, team fight. You're not gonna go solo. In the cap bases. In the flag bases, you're gonna kill the flag. But obviously you need the healer with you. Without a healer in BG warrior, as good as dead. Okay, let's talk about strength and difficulty. Okay, so continuing my document, this is from last season, I'm just gonna overwrite it. So, strength of the Slayer, I would leave it at 5. I think Colossus is a little bit better. I'm gonna give it a 6. Now the difficulty of Slayer, I think, stays the same pretty much. I would say Colossus is 6 as well. So strength, the higher the better. difficulty, the higher the harder, okay? So I think Colossus is slightly bit harder than the Slayer. Now to get to Elite, well, Arms is currently the, you know, as I said, bottom 3 specs, so it's gonna be pretty hard, especially because the Frost Mage is the strongest spec right now, and Sub-Rogue. So Frost Mage is the Giga counter to Arms, to Warrior in general, I mean. And that's the biggest problem, why it's gonna be hard to get high ratings, okay? In the low ratings where it's mostly melee cleaves, it's not gonna be hard, and that's why I'm gonna rate it 5 or 6. But, you know, the higher you go, the more casters you will face, which will be a counter to you. So, triple ranged lobbies won't be a surprise, and those are very hard for Warrior, like very hard, especially now without the break route, okay? Okay, boys, hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, drop the like and subscribe if you haven't. And I'll see you in the next video. Now, I'll be posting short shuffle, so you have some reference. It is, you know, start of the season. So I'm just gonna post the one while I was climbing to rank 29. Hopefully you learned something, and peace out. Why does the disarm not work? Oh, this is good. Drink that? Oh, disarm. My boy, you're useless now. What? What? Okay. Oh, beautiful, beautiful storm bolts. Can I get some heals, bro? My god. There we go, there we go. We destroyed them. Well done by the mage. I feel like mage is gonna go 6-0 here. Honestly. Okay, okay. So 2 icebergs down. Let's see if he changes target to mage now. If he doesn't... I deflect this, easy. I dodge this. Going... there we go. I deflect this, easy. We stumble the killer. GG. I'm gonna fear him. Into disarm. There we go. Ooh, I'm in a problem. Where's my healer? Pick this. Disarm this boy. Very nice. Ooh, closer, closer. Like, DK needs to use AMS on me. Otherwise we will lose. Pick him. I'll drink this. Big fear. Oh my god, I'm gonna die. Finally! First cocoon of the game, baby. Huge bull rush. Drop this. Ooh.